All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I'm Damon Postolka, your host. I am so excited today to bring you my special guest. I've got Ronald Henderson with me here today. Ronald, welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Damon. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
This is incredible, dude. It's I mean, you're an inspiration to many, whether you realize it or not. Uh, it's great to get you on today. I want to talk a little bit about your interesting career and what you're up to today, and just share it with people.
Be glad to do it. And before we get started, I would like to thank everyone out there in LinkedIn that I've been associated with. I really appreciate your friendship and your support. Without that, I wouldn't be here today. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you're listening, go ahead and drop in the comments where you're listening from. But more importantly, if you're listening and you're not connected with Ronald, go ahead and send him a connection request. Just let him know on the note that you heard him here and we were talking on the Faces of Business, and he'll accept it. You can start seeing his good stuff that he's sharing. So,
Thank you.
Ronald, let's get started. You've got an interesting, you had, so first of all, most people just start off having one interesting career. But I think that we're going to talk about that a little bit. Then we're going to talk about the second interesting career that you're launching right now and doing that. But earlier, your first career, I'll call it, you were servicing business machines that were taking care of some very important people. I'll just say that. So tell us a little bit about what you did in your first career.
Okay, in my first career, I was with IBM, and I applied to them to go out into the field as a customer engineer.
Yeah.
When I first called them up, they told me they weren't hiring. And then I called them up again and I said, well, look, can I just come down and see what you're doing? So they said, well, if you want to, you can. We're just looking for scientists and
Yeah.
programmers and whatever else. So I went down there and I had with me a notebook, and that notebook was filled with logic diagrams for computers and such.
Mhm.
So when the fellow saw that, I think he must have noticed it. He said they still weren't hiring, but and he sent me back home, but I got a telephone call. And the telephone call said, come down for a test. And I'm thinking, like, a test? My gosh.
Yeah.
So I come down for the test and I took the test. It was like a intelligence type of thing, reasoning and
Yeah.
uh, manipulation and so forth. It had electronics in there, some computer stuff. I passed that test. And he
Wow.
said, look, we're still not hiring, but he found me a job elsewhere. He really pursued getting me a job elsewhere. And when he did, I was doing bench work repairing Motorola pagers, believe it or not. I repaired those things, pulling out transistors
Wow.
and all soldering. I
Yep.
had my own workbench, bunch of guys there. We were repairing those things. And then lo and behold, the very man that hired me came down to be my manager.
Wow.
And then after that, after several years of that position, then I was hired by the branch manager in Washington, D.C. Uh, on 1801 K Street, which I met my wife back then.
Wow.
I met her at IBM. And then we worked there for a number of years. I serviced the White House Communications Agency, the Executive Office of the President, and the old Executive Office building. They're all down there, ground zero.
Yeah.
It was a 24 by 7 job.
Yeah.
So I was very, very committed. The phone rang all hours of the night and on weekends and so forth. And I would go down there and maintain their computers and especially their associated IO,
Yeah.
their printers, tape drives, disk drives, that sort of thing. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I enjoyed it too much to the point where that I was too dedicated. And I offer this out as a word of caution to anyone that's listening is that yes, it's great to have a job and to do what you need to do, but you still need to keep things in balance.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. You got to know when to say no. And there were times that I just basically kept the job in front of me. And I have a reason for saying this right here. One account that I serviced, I was proud to service that account. I was able to take my wife down to the White House with our children during the Christmas season, and they were able to get their own little tour
Wow.
because I had access there. And
Wow.
it was really, really nice. He still remembers that. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But what happened, what woke me up, or began to wake me up, was that I went down to one site. It was a site that the president leaves and he gets on his helicopter and all that. I went down there. I didn't have my badge.
Oh,
And I said, I don't have my badge. I said, I'm in the system. He looks in the system. I wasn't there. I said, you don't have any record of me being in there at all? And he said, no, you're not in here at all. What happened was that the system got purged. The
wow.
system was purged. And then I said, oh man, you mean after all that work and dedication, they just got rid of me with the swipe of a key?
Yeah.
That's a wake-up call, guys.
Yeah.
That was a wake-up call. I had all those badges and stuff, and I thought I was the man, but no, nope. They cleared that system out, and I went along with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just say that, yes, I was an account customer engineer, and I serviced a lot of equipment. And what happened was that when I got transferred to another position, it was fix and repair.
Mm-hmm.
I could not have the same dedication to a site that was fix and repair that I had to an entire account
Yeah.
where I was a point of contact.
Yeah.
That was a mind shift that was very difficult for me to make the transition.
Yeah.
So I still had the same dedication and the same impact on my family because I was so dedicated to the job, whether I was 10 miles away or 120 miles away, I was still on the job.
Yeah. Wow. That's something. I just can't imagine what it was like servicing the White House and to be able to be there and because if something's not working there, it's kind of a big deal.
Well, it was a big deal. It was a big deal, and the thing is that I really was available, but maybe too available. But that was like the demands of the job. I mean, you've got doctors and nurses out there that are working extended hours because of the situation, and their dedication is just
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
It's just awesome.
Yep. Well, we got Thanes listening here and whoop, I put the wrong thing up there. I'm getting it here. He said, "Did Deborah say you could do this show?"
Say yes. Yep. She's a
She
couple of
did.
feet away from me,
She
thing.
did. She did. So that's good. So Thane, he did get approval. It's a smart man right there. And so Thane's got some comments in here. Thanks so much for being here, Thane. But so I can't imagine because my wife is a Christmas freak. There's just no other way to say it. She would just probably, I don't know, probably have a heart attack if she went to the White House on Christmas because that's one of those things that we do. We drive to different towns to just see Christmas lights. But that's a special memory, I'm sure.
It was a special memory, and that's another thing I like about you is that you're a family guy and that you seek to have balance in what you're doing.
Oh, I don't know how much balance I have, but I love my family dearly, and I will wake up at crazy times in the morning just so I can get my stuff done so I can be with them later.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
do.
There you
But
go.
so you're there doing that, and now this isn't just for a couple days. I want to just kind of go through your background a little bit because you had 33 years at IBM, then you had another 4 years at Rico, and then you had another 7 years at what is it, Computer Engineering Systems,
Customer engineering services.
customer engineering services. I had written CES, but man, you had to know a lot about these business machines that you were servicing. That's for sure.
Yes, I was required to, but I
Yeah.
found that it was important too, though, to know your customer,
Mm-hmm.
to know
Yeah.
your customer. Yes, a service tech can go in and out after doing the job. He can breeze in and hopefully fix it right then go back out the door. But if you know your customer's operation, then you have a better idea of what's critical, what's not. Uh, if their machine is going to be down, then what do they have for backup? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how is it going to affect it when you've got trucks at the loading dock and they're waiting for you to have the inventory sheets for them to take elsewhere or to have
Yeah.
invoices for the delivery people? I mean, they need to be printed out.
Yeah.
You got to understand that. You got to know who your point of contacts are. Who are you dealing with?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it was with me with my other sites. Was that I said, look, these people have deadlines that they've got to meet so that other offices can have their paperwork, their product ready for them when they come in the morning. When they come in with that cup of coffee, they expect to have stuff on their desk.
Yeah.
And that was my responsibility when I had another site where we printed during the night and the machines had to run so that the hard copy was going to be delivered in the morning by the different operators that went through the building. Some of the stuff had to go to the different offices on Capitol Hill. They had to have their printouts. And it wasn't just one of those things that you could take lightly.
Yeah. Though I guess man. So this is kind of an because I am a bit of a nerd. So I mean, when you talk about some of these business systems that you were servicing, me like how big were they and how many pages are we talking about something would print? I have no experience with anything like this, so I'm just kind of getting an idea.
Okay, this is going back quite a few years, but several of the printers that I had in particular that were critical printers were the size of the old large Kodak copiers. You remember those big beasts that they had some 20 some years ago?
How big is that? Is it like a size of a car? Is it the size of a desk? Is it
It was like it's like the size of a refrigerator laying on its backside.
oh, okay? Okay,
It's
so they
pretty big.
yeah, yeah. So they just
Yeah.
they're bulk printing this stuff, man.
It was the White House budget. It was
Yeah.
a budget for all the different agencies.
Yeah, that's a few pages.
Right. It was a
So
budget
you
for all the agencies.
let's just back up a bit. You serviced a printer that printed the White House budget.
3 high-speed printers doing 91 pages per minute.
Yep.
Now, we were doing the work. This was the executive office of the president, but they
Yeah.
were doing the work for the Office of Budget and Management,
Yeah.
Office of OMB,
Yeah.
Office of Management and Budget.
Management budget.
So what
Wow.
they needed to have a way to charge the other agency.
Mm-hmm.
So I built a couple of boxes that had counters on there,
Yeah.
and I hooked them up to these printers so that when the operators ran their jobs during the night, they didn't have to look at the actual counter of the printer. They could
Mm-hmm.
look at these boxes that had counters on them so they would know how many pages they ran that night and they would record it.
Uh-huh. Wow.
This was something that we just cooked up so that this particular customer could
Yeah.
run efficiently.
Yeah. And that's crazy too, because first of all, the size of the budgets had to be, and we're not talking about, 50 pages.
No, we're
And
talking about thousands and thousands and thousands and
yeah,
thousands a night.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it
That's crazy
was.
stuff. Well, and
It was
because
fun.
in most businesses, they've got a printer or two, or they even got one that's more of a kind of main printer, but they're not printing thousands of sheets. Probably even some of them in a week or a month, they don't print that much, but doing it every day, that's a whole nother level for business machines and durability that you need to have.
It is. It is. But once again, I want to stress knowing your customer and your customer needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I walked away with, and especially when we talk about leadership during our leaders building leaders meetings, is that I think about the sensitivity and the relationships that you have with your customers, the relationships that your management has with the customers, and understanding their needs, which ones really have the greatest responsibilities to keep them going. One of the things that they did, one of these sites called me up in the middle of the night and said they needed some toner.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out of bed, I drove to another site, got toner for them, and then dropped it off for them because we knew they had to run.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's just one of those things, they've got, you don't want to put them in a bad situation. If you don't help them, no one will probably.
that's the thing. You can't be insensitive to their needs. I mean, who knows? I mean, because of our efforts, that could be the matter of whether or not somebody's going to sign a contract for the next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those kind of things, like you're saying, it doesn't matter what kind of business and people talk about this a lot in business. It's that extra few percent of effort that you put in there, or that extra 10% of effort that drives that long-term business, because they appreciate that little bit of extra effort so much compared to everything else.
My efforts won contracts, Damon.
Yeah.
My personal
I can
efforts
hear it.
won contracts. I'm not saying this out of pride.
No.
I'm just saying this as a matter of knowing the circumstances in some of the sites. If they needed to have serviceability, reliability, and availability in their product, and they had to know that when this guy showed up, whoever it was, he had a couple of hundred people behind him in order to meet the needs of that site, whether it was hardware, software, marketing issues, upgrades,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case is. Are you going to be the person we can talk to so that we can expand and grow?
Yeah.
They
Well,
need to have a face.
and you're helping them be successful. And when you
Yes,
do
that's the
that,
idea. Is that
yeah.
it's got to be in your heart. Now we had a customer. This happened later in my years, but we had one customer that ordered a machine off the web, and when they got that printer, it did not have the correct interface to mate with their system. They didn't have someone to actually do a hand and glove install. You tell us what you need, what you got, and we're going to deliver what you need. So
Mm-hmm.
someone dropped the ball, and these people got stuck with a machine they couldn't use. And the
Wow.
supplier said that, well, we're going to jury rig a whole bunch of junk that can hang off the back of your machine so that it can talk to your system. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it turned into a nightmare. But I said, I compared that with the marketing rep that I used to work with. And this guy, if you said you needed something, he was going to be there until that thing was operational for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that mattered a whole lot to that particular customer, multiple customers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That kind of dedication really does.
The dedication, but that's where his business was. It was his business, and he took care of his customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're in those situations, the one thing that I always wondered, because I've been on the other side of that in settings where we've got manufacturing equipment and a technical service person comes in, how many times were people glad to see you and nice, or how many times were people kind of grumpy and, just get it fixed kind of thing? That's one of the things that I would wonder.
It was a good spread. I had some customers that I had such a relationship with. If I saw them on the street, they would tell me to come by and just come by and have a cup of coffee with them.
Awesome.
And I've had other customers that just took me for granted. I
Yeah.
did what I had to do, but I can't say that I always gave them the red carpet treatment.
Yep. It's both ways. I was just curious because, some people don't, I guess they don't understand the person that's coming on the other side of a business transaction sometimes, and they don't understand the situation that person's coming into. But that was one of the things I wondered. Well, we got Gracie saying hello. Hello,
Hey,
Gracie.
Gracie, good
How
to
you
see
doing?
you.
Yeah. Yeah. She
Oh,
says,
oh,
greeting from sunny California. Yeah. She's going to rub it
beautiful.
in.
It's
Going
good
to
to
rub it
see
in.
you. And you
Yep.
radiate like you're from California too, Gracie. A
Yep.
beautiful smile.
Yep. That's for
I
sure.
want to give you an example of something, Damon, to
Mm-hmm.
look at this from another point of view. When you ask about a service tech, an air conditioning guy came in to replace our entire unit. And I was just talking with him, having conversation with him. And then just in the midst of his working, he realized he didn't have the igniter for his blowtorch. And he was going to go to Lowe's and get an igniter. And I said, hey, look, man, I've got an igniter out there in the garage.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when you get done with it, you can have it. See, the thing was that I was talking to this guy. I mean, we had a relationship. It wasn't like, okay, fix my machine and then I'm going to disappear.
Yeah.
No, I say he's a service tech and I feel in his position.
Yeah.
So because we had developed some rapport, when he came in the house, he saw a space all prepared for him to bring it in through the basement door, nothing blocking the way. He had light. I mean, like, I'm going to treat this guy like I'm in his position.
You're going to set him up for success.
I'm going to set him up for success.
Yeah.
And what did my wife do? When she talked to those people, told him what a great job he did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's who is somebody else? Oh, Jody Lennis was talking about that, wasn't he? When he had, because the people that services that pick up his garbage are so nice. He was talking about, remember that? And,
Yes.
and, there's so many people that and even with and it's a much different thing, but the e-commerce people that I work with, it seems like the only reviews that you get are bad reviews. And I think if people can spread the good word, it's a lot more advantageous. And it helps a lot because there's so many people in this world that go around doing an awesome job. And if we can help them, they're going to do better. And if we even let other people know that they're doing an awesome job, it just makes it that much better.
It does make it. And we've talked about peer recognition too, and morale on the job, how important that is.
Yeah.
One of the things I enjoyed doing was recognizing the guys that I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with some fantastic people, some side by side, some part of the support structure. And I wanted them to be recognized for the extra effort that they gave, because when this stuff was done online recognition, managers get to see that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to know so they can do their, what do you call it? When the managers,
they do the reviews.
Yeah, the reviews. When they do those reviews, I say, hey, look, I want them to know what these people did that made my job easier and made the customer happy too.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, it is. It is. And yeah, there's just so much of this. And I think about it. And actually this is a goofy kind of comparison, but I watched the Seahawks. That's my football team out here, right? And Adrian Peterson is a running back that used to play in Minnesota years ago. Adrian he's in his early 30s, so for a running back, he's old. And he came out to the Seahawks this year and played in one game, was able to, but he got hurt. So he's the right age. He's getting a little older, right? But what he was able to do is he was able to then switch his mindset and said, I am hurt, but I've got a lot of experience in this game. And he helped Rashad Penny, which was a young up and coming running back, learn how to practice better, learn how to take care of his body better. And today I was just listening to this morning, I was listening to the end of season video interviews with a few of the people, and listening to Rashad Penny talk about Adrian Peterson and how much he helped him and how much it was that feedback and that working together helped him be so much better. And then watching how that translated into great play on the field, because Rashad Penny really in the last 4 games was a completely different player compared to like mediocre to going over 100 yards plus a game. Yet this last weekend, he wrote 170 or 180 yards against the Arizona Cardinals. So he did just fantastic. I mean, it's like it's a new player, and he credits it to the fact that he healthy, yes, but Adrian Peterson helped him get this. So the amount that we can help each other peer to peer is
Yes,
rarely emphasized, but it's dramatic.
it's very important.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it
very
is.
important. I mean, there are things that we can share that we've learned from experience. And if we're not playing all that guarded business and we're willing to share it with the other team players, the other co-workers, and not feel distrustful, then we all succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, real quick, we got Jim Kunkel here from I believe it's the Codings Association. He helps them and some of their stuff. And Jim's another broadcaster on LinkedIn and other platforms. Great to see you, Jim. And this is where I think we're going to make a little turn here, though, Ronald, because
Yeah.
we your second career, and let's talk about STEM for a minute, because I think one of the things I get to talk to a lot of people about manufacturing and business and stuff like that, and one of the things that we talk about a lot is getting kids, young people involved in science, technology, engineering, and when my friend Wesleyan Greer says that, she calls the M in it manufacturing. so and so what is cool is you're very, very passionate about STEM, and you've helped kids for a long time with STEM, with helping them program, do 3D printing, some other stuff. So let's talk about that a little bit. The what really got you into to helping kids with STEM?
Well, I guess it's because when I was a child, I was a tinkerer.
Yeah.
I like to build things. I build a lot of stuff, using tubes. But yes, I like to build things. And I won a science fair project, local science fair, DC
Mm-hmm.
science fair twice. The first time was in biology. And here's
Okay.
a story behind this. I went into my high school biology class and I saw the teacher, I saw the textbook, and I said, I don't have a chance. No way in the world. I mean, I didn't have the proper study habits.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what happened though, was that somehow it was suggested that I participate in a science fair. And I developed a project to experiment with the effect of electric charges on paramecium.
Mm.
Exactly where that idea came from, I don't know. This is long before you had YouTube or PCs, any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing was that I did have some hard copy books that said what a paramecium was. I had access to batteries and electronic components. I built my own power supply. I made a microscope slide that had electrodes on there,
Yeah.
and I had a microscope. And by applying those charges, I can make the paramecium, the culture, move from electrode to electrode, control the speed, and also the direction by reversing the polarity.
Wow.
Now, being able to do that, first of all, was that it didn't require me to be a biology expert.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't require me to be a medical doctor or anything. All I had was my passion and my interest for that particular project. Plus, I had my background in electricity. And then I also had my background in woodworking
Mm-hmm.
because my father was a woodworker. I was good with my hands.
Yeah.
That project allowed me to get first place in biology in the city
Wow.
back in the 1960s.
Wow.
I learned a lesson from that. I said, if I introduce STEM to other students, if I could just give them some kind of interest, the tools to introduce them to programming, not teach them, but introduce them to programming.
Mm-hmm.
If I could show them that the Raspberry Pi, the Raspberry Pi, where is it? I got a Raspberry Pi around here somewhere. But anyway, if the Raspberry Pi was useful so that they could experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I've got something else going on over here.
Okay.
If the
You got an Audible book playing there?
I think I do have an
There you go.
audiobook playing there. Can you imagine that right there?
Oh, that's the way
Is
it
that
goes.
cool or
This
what?
is live. Hey, we got Michelle here. She said she finally made it. So it's awesome to see Michelle's
Michelle, it's
going
good
on.
to see you, dear.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's
Wait a minute. I'll get
oh
ready.
yeah. You just take your time and do it. But that's cool because there's people find inspiration to do things through different paths. It's like learn differently and do it. And you learn something about biology by applying what you knew and with a different approach.
Well, you see, that's the thing. I try to encourage kids once they've got some. Oh, here's a Arduino microcontroller.
Okay.
We did projects on that right there too.
Yeah.
My wife is helping me to get rid of this fellow that's talking.
Oh, you got a video playing. There you go.
Yeah,
So
wait a minute. I'll get rid of it here in a
yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Where in the world is it? Okay, hold tight for a second.
Oh
I'll be
yeah.
right there.
We got it. We got it.
Uh, am I disappearing?
No, you're still here.
I'm still there. Okay,
Yeah,
that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make this go away. I will make it go away.
Sure. Michelle says, great to see you guys.
It's great to be here. I love it. Okay, wait a minute. Let get this right here.
Oh, Ronald dropped off. He'll come back. We'll be ready to go when he gets back here. I will message him and tell him to just come back in. So we will do that. And while we're waiting, we'll wait for just a moment because he can jump right back in and do that. Well, this has happened to me before, but we're going to talk a little bit more about Ronald's pursuits and helping kids learn about STEM. Because once you hear how his passion drives him to do what he does, it's going to be pretty good. So, and if he can't come back, we'll be done. We'll put another one together here, but I think he's going to be back. I'm going to text him real quick here. So, Michelle or Gracie, what are you up to today? Did you have a good day? You can drop in the comments there. I see they're talking to each other in the comments. And I'll just say, all right, got that. Well, so let's see. It's Tuesday this week. So Thursday, we got Jody Lennis. He's going to talk about finding the leader within. See, I knew Ronald would be back.
You better believe it, brother. I'm not going anywhere.
I know. I knew.
I was just waiting.
I was filling in. You're a lot better filling in than I am. But we got it.
But here's the point, though.
Yeah.
Is that I was trying through STEM to develop the new generation.
Yeah.
That guys like you and others need to fill the bill. It's not all about social media. It's also about, building. Who's going to be the next Elon Musk, for crying out loud?
Exactly.
Or the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when I did the work with these kids, I knew I was investing in their future. Hey, look. I showed some of these kids how to use voltmeters to show them digital circuits. My wife and I taught a class together. She helped build a book on electricity and magnetism to tell kids about Ohm's law, for crying out loud.
Yep.
We showed them, we developed circuit boards so that they could see the difference in voltages and the brightness of lights. There were all kinds of things that we did so they could get some hands-on experience.
And when they understand that stuff, it's amazing. It's amazing how the lights come on in their minds and they start to think of the world differently.
Yes, they think of the world differently. We showed them what digital numbers look like using ones and zeros.
Yeah. Yeah.
.0. No, we showed them how the lights would increment to see what decimal numbers do and how they operated circuits because of the decoding circuits on there.
Yeah.
We want to at least show them stuff. Oh, I'll tell you what we did. A buddy of mine and I, my cousin actually, we went to the Radio Shacks and bought out their robot kits.
Yeah.
We bought out their robot kits, and we were working with a STEM organization. We had kids for 2.5 days, and we brought those robot kits in,
Mm-hmm.
separated the parts so that it would be easier for them to get into. Get the instructions. We made PDFs out of the instructions to go on overheads.
Yeah.
We got 6 teams, and those kids had robots that they could assemble by hand. Some of the guys even learned how to load the microcontrollers on their own.
Wow.
That's what blew my mind, when they could take that microcode and load it into the microcontrollers and then operate these robots that were ultrasonically driven. They were obstacle avoiding robots. Then what
Wow.
was the outcome of that? Well, one kid's in his second year of mechanical engineering,
Oh, wow.
and another kid is going to enter into his first year of computer science.
Wow. That's something.
And these are the families that I've kept in touch with.
Yeah. Well, and that's it's a great example. I mean, and then again, when we talk about your STEM, and we talk about now going into your second career you're creating here, I think it's pretty exciting because um because you talk about the title Success After 70, A Man Reborn. Now, I met you a year ago or so, or something like that, and I see someone in front of me that's learning so much every day and helping others so much. It's just inspiring. And we had a call last week or whenever it was, then, and we're talking more about it. We talk a lot more than that, but when we were talking about listening to you and how the STEM is really helping these kids, and your passion for it is something, because I think that as you look to your second career now and what you can do and mix STEM with other for-profit kind of stuff, it really is interesting how you can combine that and help people.
Well, it is. It is. I've done a lot of pro bono work
Yeah.
working with one organization, but I did lead a seminar for which I was paid,
Yeah.
and I also taught a class
Yeah.
for which I was paid. And I'm looking for numerous opportunities in that. I'm looking to start a nonprofit organization where we can get into schools and then perhaps even expand across the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Uh,
it's so cool. It's so cool that because I look at you, Ronald, and I think, and we talked about this, you've got desire, and you've got skill, and you've got time. Those three things together are a powerful
desire, skill, and
combination.
time.
It's a powerful combination, my friend. And I'm just excited to see what you can do by bringing other people in with those technology skills together with you to really show these kids some STEM and give them inspiration to, like you said, the mechanical engineering student now and the computer science student, that they may not have known or been inspired to do that.
That's true. That's true. I do have to mention a transition point, Damon.
Mm-hmm.
At the time that I retired and I no longer had a job, I was like Ronin. I was like Ronin. I was like a samurai without a master.
Yeah.
And I had to go through a transition period. More time at home,
Yep.
no agenda running. I began to get rid of my agendas.
Yes.
And I said, I've got to learn how to be in the public and learn my identity, learn my value, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I got involved with a law of attraction group, and I'm still with them. And they gave me a wider view of life and business.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to interact with them as people. And then when I got involved in LinkedIn, there were a number of people that I met that were very, very beneficial with me. Rashad Ahmed is one, Mama Liz is another. There's another person by the name of Dr. Nick. I mentioned these people because they were personally reaching out to me.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking with me. And I was making a transition from working on machines to learning how to relate to folks. That helped me and my family. I've got to
Awesome.
admit, learning these different things, the mind, the spirit, the body, and dealing with a lot of just talking stuff, I could get involved more with people and not to be so driven. There was an issue of being driven. So then after that, we ran across Thane. We ran
Mm-hmm.
across Thane. I said I'd like to meet this fella, and then we were able to do the Leaders Building Leaders. That was awesome. And it was
Mm-hmm.
helping me to learn more about me and to take that time for the time to uh, reflect, refocus, and recharge. That was the mantra. I had to do that because my life was out of control.
Mm-hmm.
All I was doing was just running from one thing to another. But then after we began to realize how important it was to look at your life from week to week and what are your daily activities and such, that was something that I never really grasped before. I did the 7 habits, and that was awesome. But as far as relating to inwardly, I didn't understand that. So the Leaders Building Leaders gave me this certificate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so proud that my wife and I got this certificate because we had the discipline to make the meetings, to be able to relate to other people, to share, to learn, building relationships that are long lasting. That was so, so important.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
particular book right here, yeah, the 15 laws of invaluable, yeah, 15 valuable laws of growth.
Yep.
I was growing technically, but not individually. I was adapting to the job, but I was not dealing with me as an individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to really just thank our groups, Leaders Building Leaders, and the Think and Grow Rich,
You
and for
know,
Thane.
you make such a great point because we're all driven in our careers to boom, 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 boom. And I think it takes a while until you realize that the career is part. Yeah, it's part. But if you're not right, if you're not right, first of all, you can't be as good as you want to be in your career. If you're not right, you can't be as good as you want to be for your family and kids and friends and everyone around you. And you can't be as good of a leader, as a peer, as a whatever. But when you take that time to really focus on yourself, and that's what I love interacting with you, dude, because it's you've put this work in and it shows. And now when you're going forward, I think this is going to be, you're going to even be more powerful helping the kids with STEM and inspiring other people to do what they want to do. So,
Yes, it
yeah,
does allow that. And it also gives me a vision for my family, too.
yeah, yeah,
All that in balance. I think it was one of the things that we said. We said that skill and talent will get you up the ladder, but character keeps you there. And I said, I really need to develop my character. I really need to have that sense of awareness or that time looking in the mirror, the reflection, and just developing myself.
yeah,
This
yeah.
was necessary.
You're talking about stuff, Ronald, that I think is incredible. And I think it's far too rarely spoken about or talked about because everybody is in business now or doing work, technical work, doing whatever they're doing is always driven on the job. And we don't talk enough as a society, at least in the United States, I don't think, about making sure that we are building ourselves up. And, you know, it's not always something else. It's, you have to look inward on this and really understand it. And sometimes we're just not ready for it. But when we are ready for it, if you embrace it and do it, I think it will really allow you to live a much fuller life.
And that's important too.
Yeah.
There was a moment in my life. My father was in the hospital. He was in the hospital. I was servicing a customer account that day. It was a Friday. And I was preparing to go to another site. I was going to go to the hospital later that day. In the evening, I was going to go. A coworker who has his values pretty much in place like you do said family first. And I said, okay, then I'll tell you what, then I told my sister I'll go to the hospital and I'll see my father rather than go to the other account. My father died within an hour of being in the hospital.
Yeah.
He would have gone with nobody there in his room if I had gone to that other account.
Yeah.
He would have died alone. I had a chance to pray over him and sit in the chair, and I sat in the chair, and there was such a peace that came over me while I was in that chair. And then someone came in the room and they said, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. But you were able to be there.
I was able to be there because someone spoke to me and gave me some advice. And fortunately, I took that advice. Somebody that was balanced, that had their priorities in order.
Yeah.
And he told me over the phone, he said, family first. I said, okay, I'll go. And then boom, that's it. So I'm just saying, though, is that was an experience. I mean, it's a learning experience. I'm going to share it with anybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. You know, I've spoken about it before, too. I was able to see my father when he passed this last year, and I just wouldn't do it any other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting to the voiceovers, I have no idea what the time is.
Yeah, because now the other thing, let's get talk about this though, because man, you got this smooth voice, and you decided, what prompted you to start thinking about doing voiceovers? Because I think it's cool. Wife. Yeah. So Deborah helped you with that.
She helped me with it, and she was with me side by side.
All right.
And I met with some people. I went to a studio. I was making arrangements for training.
Yeah.
The problem was that it was in my head to be able to focus on that and pull me away from work.
Yeah.
Not just physically, but mentally. I really had no idea who the heck Ronald Henderson was, other than phone ring, run out the door.
Yeah.
I had no concept. And I'm saying this, I'll admit it. So I'm just saying is that, yes, we made some efforts, but it wasn't consistent. Mm-hmm. Now, what happened is that several years ago, my cousin was doing documentaries, and he asked me if I would narrate for him.
Yeah.
He had a studio in the basement. And yes, I did. I stood there at the podium, and I had the microphone there, and I read his scripts, and we worked it all out and everything. And then one day he played it back, and he showed the videos on the screen, and I'm listening to the voice, and I'm saying, who the heck is that sucker? I mean, that's me. Yeah. I'm saying that this really can happen.
Yeah.
So then we've made several other documentaries there too. And also the work with Thane. Thane gave me the opportunities about, you know, the least interesting man in the world.
Yeah.
And the night before Christmas, we did that.
Yeah.
And we're looking at other opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. So if people listening out there, if you connect with Ronald on LinkedIn too, because for voiceover, he can give you some examples of his work and do that. He's very good at it. because I mean, you just like someone that would study their craft and anything else, you have to put in work on voiceover, and you have to think about the context of what you're reading and the other way that you're speaking, really, don't you?
You do. You do. But the greatest advice, too, that my wife has given me is to be yourself.
Yeah.
That's for starters, is to be yourself. And then, of course, there are going to be variations, and I can do that under direction. I mean, I'm still getting experience in this, and I still have a way to go as far as training and all that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
if you've got something within my range and you want a normal speaking person and you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you.
Yeah, that's awesome, Ronald. That's awesome, because I love to hear your passion for uh, life, learning, and developing these new careers. Whether it's teaching kids the STEM, working with your 3D printers. We didn't even get to talk about 3D printers. You're like a 3D printer master. If anyone wants to know about that, they should be contacting you about getting 3D printed stuff. Because you said you have two 3D printers in your house too.
I've got them. And
Yeah.
yes, I have done some printing. I've done a considerable amount.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to turn into a business.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, be able to do things on demand.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
do that.
That's something.
I had an experience. I got to share an experience with you. I was on the job slaving away in this big box store, and I was at a cashier's station, and a young man came up to me. I was depressed. I said, I'm stuck doing this crap. A young man came up to me. He introduced himself, and he was in one of my classes.
Oh, wow.
And he said to the cashier, he's my teacher. He taught me engineering.
Wow.
And when he said that, then I said, yes, I did make a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah.
I said, I'm over here having a pity party, paying my dues, but yet someone came in there at that time. It was the timing of it
Yeah.
that made the difference.
Wow. Ronald, I think that's common for people, though. We don't realize the effect that we have on others. And you've impacted a lot of people positively, not only with your STEM work, with just being you as well. And when you talk about servicing your customers in the White House that needed to print their documents, or as you were teaching the children, or as you were helping to do the voiceover work for the documentaries. I think many of us don't take the time to really understand the influence and the positive effect we can have, or we do have.
Well, Damon, I'm grateful for the people that I'm with, because it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
This is just recent. When I retired, a fellow at my retirement party came up to me with a bottle of wild turkey.
Yeah.
He had that wild turkey. He was going to give it to me as a retirement gift. And I told him that I was no longer drinking.
Yep.
And but I took it anyway, because I said, when I leave my job, I'm going to have to make a decision. Am I going to go and just fall by the wayside, or am I still going to see myself as a person of value, that I can still make a contribution, that I'm not going to go off into the dark side?
Yeah.
Am I going to try to make a change in life? And I said, I owe that to my family, to make a change in life, to leave the past behind and to take advantage of other opportunities. And to be here tonight is a great opportunity to be talking with you.
Wow. I honestly don't know how I could say anything better, any better way. And this is why I wanted to have you on, Ronald, because you're an inspiration. You don't even realize it. You're an inspiration. You look at the comments on here, you just don't even realize it. And I'm blessed to know you, and I'm so thankful that you're able to come on tonight, because there you are truly a great example of people that are someone that is taking that next step in their life, and that story is very very telling of yourself. And I just thank you so much for being here tonight, Ronald. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for people listening. I just I'm speechless, dude. That was, I mean, I knew this is why I wanted you to come on, Ronald. I wanted you to be able to let people get to know you a little bit better and understand that, because I think you are a prime example of why people need to understand that, we're not done until we want to be done. That's just a fact. And you're living proof of that. And I love it, man.
Well, thank you, Damon. I do appreciate it. I'm grateful to be in our group, to be in our Leaders Building Leaders, and I would encourage anyone who wants to invest in themselves. You invest in yourself so you can invest in others, and the world will be a better place. I would encourage anyone to take advantage of the Leaders Building Leaders. Contact Thane. I recommend him too.
Yeah.
Contact Thane, and just to be a part of our group. We have a fantastic group, and you all just bless me so to be a part of this group that we meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
At 7:00. Get the details from Thane. You put that in the comments. However, to
We'll
reach
get
out.
that.
I'm not just doing this as just trying to pump everybody up. I'm just saying is that it's making a difference in my life at a time when I have a second chance.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, I just got to say thanks so much. Today I had Ronald Henderson on, and the topic was success after 70, a man reborn. I think without a doubt, you understand what we were talking about here. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. Thane, hang out for just a minute. We're gonna shut off live here and be done for the day. But thanks so much. We'll be back again later.
Thank you.